Good morning, y'all. Grab a cup of coffee, grab something to drink because Gen Z is crashing out, and this takedown of the latest drama in Gen Z world might be a little savage. To give you context, there's this new phenomenon on social media called the chopped man epidemic, and it's basically a new term Gen Z has coined to describe guys who aren't maintaining their appearance, aren't trying very hard, aren't trying to like spruce up their looks to attract female dates and that kind of thing. They're just like really putting off young women. So there was a video that went viral, which I'll play for you, but that triggered a bunch of responses on TikTok, and it got this woman Savannah seriously triggered to the point where she had to write about it on Substack, and she's also made some subsequent videos. But I do think this woman is delusional, out of her mind delusional, and really encapsulates what's happening to young women right now. And you know, I talk a lot about like how feminism is hurting men, and it's kind of made it difficult for people to come together, and we've created this divide between the genders. And I think this piece really gets into her mindset and her frame of mind and how she's thinking about it. And what you have to realize is this isn't just her. This is millions of young women. And honestly, I don't know how much of it is endogenous to her and how much of it has been programmed to her through social media, to be totally honest. And this is coming from someone who didn't grow up with social media. I got Facebook 2008 towards the end of high school. Didn't get Instagram until after college. So like started using it in like 2013, 2014. But even my own use of Instagram, right? I saw how that manifested real world in my life, and I've been off. I quit Instagram cold turkey. I've been off for a couple years now, and I refuse to go back. I can see demonstrably how it caused me to behave in the real world and do things that I don't think a rational or sane person would have done had it not been for all of the programming coming from social media. So, on the one hand, this girl's Delulu. She is crazy out of her mind. She has no cognizance of what the real world is. But at the same time, I'm very sympathetic and empathetic towards her because I understand that her mind might not be her own, and she might be seeing a world through a highly filtered lens of social media programming, and she might truly believe the things that she says in here. So before we dive into her essay, let me introduce you to the chopped man epidemic. So this kicked off back in June when this girl Stella posted
So,
this
as
video.
we're all very much aware, we are living through a chopped man epidemic, and there's a big shortage of baddies. It's gone so bad to the point that, like, if I see an attractive man, it genuinely makes my day. I was walking on the sidewalk earlier, and I saw a cute guy in his car, so I waved to him, and he smiled back at me. And obviously, he drove away after that. But I was like, oh my god, a cute guy? This was at 6:50 p.m. It's 7:17 and I'm still like, oh my god. And I feel like this is going to power me through my evening. Like, wow, I actually saw an attractive man today. Like, diamond in the rough, needle in the haystack. Seriously. So,
Okay, so I don't like women don't understand how the world works. You have to put out what you expect to get in return. So if you want a husband, you need to put out like wifely behavior. You need to act modest, you need to dress modestly, you need to act piously, you need to be willing to submit, you need to know how to maintain a home, know how to cook. Like if your goal is to actually have a husband, not just have a wedding, but have a husband and like have a relationship. Like women need to bring something to the table. In and of themselves, they are not sufficient. They are fallible humans, just like men, and they need to bring something to the table. And so part of that is taking care of your appearance. And I speak from experience. I had my own phase in my 20s where I was overweight, probably like 50 pounds heavier than I am now. Overweight. My job was so stressful and I really hated my life that I was just perpetually broken out. And I've never really had like face issues, thankfully. I was so broken out that I remember one day not wearing makeup to work, just to see I was inflamed, like physically, like just so much inflammation in my face. I was so inflamed. I came to work, wasn't wearing makeup, and one of my coworkers looked at me. She's like, "Amanda, you look awful. Do you want me to take you to the ER?" Just because of my face. It was that bad. And so I get it, right? I get it. Like there's been periods of time in my life where I haven't taken care of myself. I've felt depressed. And then of course it was during a period of time where I was, wanting to date, wanting to be in a relationship, and I wasn't attracting uh the right matches and the right, guys that I wanted to be in a relationship with. So it reinforced the belief that I was ugly and awful and no one wanted to be with me, and there was something like wrong with me, right? There's something fundamentally wrong with me. And so I get it. I get it. But what's interesting about this is these women who are making commentary like this and talking about this, like they themselves aren't attractive. So they're complaining about men not being attractive. They're complaining about men being chopped. But they're not doing anything to help themselves. They expect men to have these great careers and to be physically fit and like all their ducks in a row, but they're not putting in the same effort on their end. They're not, not wearing makeup, not getting your hair done, not getting your nails done, like not like doing anything. And so it's like this very lopsided system of expectations, which everyone in the real world can see. Because it's not rocket science. Like if you're an unattractive person, you're going to attract unattractive people. And it's not just your physical appearance, it's your personality. And your physical appearance is often an outward expression of what's going on in your inner world. So if someone comes to me and they're overweight, a young woman is overweight, her face is totally broken out, not wearing makeup, looking like a slob, not dressed well, that tells me like she doesn't respect herself. She doesn't care about herself. And so why would I want anything to do with someone like that? Even as a friend, right? Why would I even want a friendship with someone who's going to behave like that? Your how you present yourself really, it's like how you communicate with the world, what's going on inside of you. And if you are obese and you're not taking care of yourself and you dress like you're dressing really grotesquely and slovenly, that sends a message. You're sending a signal out into the world. So if you want to change that, like you need to, do some work. And so what really got this blown up on social media is this video. Not this video. I couldn't find the original video, but this chick, Savannah, posted a video about this Indian kid being chopped and not being well put together. And she, of course, got a lot of hate of it. So I thought this was fine. This is the kid who responded with his own video in return.
Epidemic until I saw this chopped man on my...
Let me start it back.
I wasn't going to talk about the chopped man epidemic until I saw this chopped man on my...
Pretty normal guy. I appreciate how he turned this into a video of his skincare routine. It's kind of funny. But the chick who commented, Savannah, she's the one who wrote the article in Substack, but she's not... I don't consider her very pretty. If that's mean, that might be a little mean. She's just kind of average, and her attitude and personality is what makes her ugly, in my opinion, not her physical appearance. You can change your physical appearance. There's all sorts of things you can do, but it's her personality that is really ugly to me. So this is one of her response videos.
In a society where women's appearances are expected to be the most interesting thing about them, it is inherently different saying that a man is chopped versus a woman. And for the people that are like, he didn't even call her chopped. Oh yeah, you're right. He didn't call her chopped. He called her delusional. Because he's making fun of her in a roundabout way, pretending to be really nice, making fun of her, like pretending to be like her friend, being like, you go girl, but he's really making fun of her. So
yeah, like, I mean, she's caking on makeup. You can tell she's overweight because her, cheeks and stuff. Like, you can just tell she doesn't take care of herself. She's chopped. So whatever this term we're using, she's what she projected out, and this happens a lot of time with young women. Is we tend to project into the world the things we're deeply afraid of and fearful of ourselves, right? And so she's afraid. I think based again I'm projecting my own experience here, previous experiences, but I think she's insecure about herself, where she's at in her life and her looks, and so she is projecting onto the internet to deflect, and in the process she's putting on grotesque amounts of makeup. There's just one more I found that I think really hits the nail on the head.
Video criticizing a man, and then you get clipped out of context and used in a rage bait video, and then he uses the engagement off of that video to make an ad and uses the viralness of like your image in his ad to make his ad successful, and then blames you for all of it too.
Yeah, she's not the makeup is insane. I don't know why women do this. It's just not pretty. The eyelashes are fake. She screams fakeness. And then, just one more, like, this is her. So this is what she's offering to the marketplace. And she's criticizing like a dude who does his skincare routine, who's, handsome guy. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. Totally fine. And, you have women like this who are criticizing, and that's why, there's the issues that we have now in society, because women like this are completely Delulu. So let's dive into her piece. She talks about it as, so this is what she's talking about. Her manosphere attack is what I just played for you. All of that whole drama with the Indian kid and clipping her apparently out of context and her calling him chopped. So to get started, she has a trigger warning here. But she pulls a quote from a TikTok user named AG121206. Okay. If you're Gen Z and you're watching this and you're on TikTok, get off TikTok. Take your phone out, delete the app. You will be far more happier for it. What you might not realize is this might not actually be a real person. So this girl read this comment. She's responding to it. It triggered her. TikTok user AG121206 might not be real. I've written about this separately. There's a lot of psychological campaigns happening right now. China in particular has been leading them. I'm not going to go too deep into the rabbit hole, but China has been using social media channels here in the United States to change our psychology, to change how we think, how we engage with one another. It's absolutely real. It's absolutely real. I mean, Cambridge Analytica with the 2016 election was an example of this. But the Chinese example is called Spamouflage Dragon. So if you want to go Google it, go Google it. But there are state actors in China, Russia. There's non-state actors. There's political actors who are using social media to manipulate our psychology. And so this is one of the reasons why you need to really get off social media. Half the internet is just bots. Elon Musk has come out and said that. So has Sam Altman. So there's a legitimate concern that half the internet, which means like half the people you're interacting with, are bots. I don't even know if you're real, honestly, if you're watching this. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really, respond to comments all that much, is because I don't even know who's real anymore. And so if you get comments like this and you're on social media, specifically TikTok, delete the app, get off of it. You're probably interacting with someone who's trying to mess with you in the head. So that's that. Okay. So she opens this up by talking about the woman is like this thing, kind of like the patriarchy, but the woman is someone I would describe as a human turned into an object of collective hate. So women are only supposed to be things that we hate. I don't even know. Like, she's a human just like you and I, who has experienced the world the exact same way you have, except for unlike you, she has done something wrong with a capital W. And this wrong outweighs in any potential light shining from her, as women are not expected to evoke negative emotions. So it's like, I don't even know what she's saying here, to be totally honest. It's like it's like the world can't see the goodness of women. They can only see the wrong. And the world does see goodness in women, but you have to like let your goodness shine. So I think it's part on her. She makes a reference here from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which I think is a sign of her infantilism. So she's 25. I think there's an epidemic within young people, and millennials are a problem too. I've written about this as well. 30-something-year-olds living in Brooklyn complaining that they can't buy houses like their parents did, and it's because they're living in Brooklyn still. Young people aren't growing up. We're not, and this is why relationships are important. Getting married, buying a house, having a stable job, having kids, that's part of growing up. So if you don't do those things, you are perpetually infantilized and you're in a state of arrested development. So I highlight that because the fact that she references Diary of a Wimpy Kid is really symbolic of that. I am millennial, so I read Chronicles of Narnia and Magic Treehouse, like the Boxcar Kids. Obviously, Harry Potter was big, and so I was big into that. But even today, like I don't reference quotes from Harry Potter like some millennials do. I don't. Anytime I reference something, I'm referencing an article or a study or a survey. I'm not drawing corollaries to books I read as a child. Maybe literature. Okay, so I might draw a reference to like a George Orwell novel, for example, or, Brave New World or something like that, or maybe a movie, like I've referenced Gattaca in previous YouTube videos and things like that. So I might reference things from pop culture with that regard, but I'm not referencing things from my adolescence, at least not in this context. And so the fact that she is trying to describe like this ethereal cultural hate for the woman using a child's book really kind of tells me where her mind is and that she hasn't quite grown up yet, or maybe just hasn't read books since she was like 10, which is also possible because Gen Z doesn't really read anymore either. Either way, it tells me like she's stuck in an infantile place, and that I think manifests in how she presents herself in the world. Okay, so like I said, this is the chopped man epidemic. And so she describes it as being washed up, busted, and ugly. I still don't understand like Gen Z lingo. Also, if you're Gen Z, please stop making up dumb words that the rest of us don't understand. You have to exist in the real world with boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials. And if we don't understand what you're saying, you're going to feel isolated and alone and frustrated because we just can't communicate with you. It's fine to have cool words. Folks in the 70s had groovy. I remember, when Mean Girls came out, everyone was like, that's so fetch. So we all have our generational terms, but I think Gen Z has gotten a little out of control to the point like we're not even talking in the same language anymore. So let's tone down the words a little bit. Okay. So she talks about that Stella, the one I showed you before, who kicked this whole thing off, and then she responded to it, and she got some backlash, and she says that men are not putting in effort to be attractive. And so she says that as a 25-year-old woman who has suffered in the trenches of Hinge, Tinder, and Bumble myself, this is an experience I can validate. They do not put effort in, whether that is talking about their physical self-care and their emotional well-being. Like, she's not putting in any effort here either. Like, maybe you find this attractive. I don't know. And again, I'm being brutal and mean here. There's nothing attractive about this. There's nothing attractive about her eyes and her makeup routine. There's nothing attractive about her personality. She's chopped. I don't know what other way to say it, but I mean, there's nothing attractive about her. So this unrealistic expectation that men need to put in all the effort and men need to do the hard work, but women have a pass and women don't need to take care of themselves. I think this is why the Indian kid called her delusional, because she is. Okay, so when she saw TikTok user Hindu Homeboy post a response to Stella demeaning her and telling her to stay delusional queen, she was triggered enough to respond. Notice that Indian boy, the Indian kid, didn't even respond to this Savannah girl. It was some other girl, Stella, on the internet. So Savannah here inserted herself into the drama. She had nothing to do with it, but she felt compelled to insert herself into it by, responding to him. And he, responded with a lighthearted, here's my skincare routine. So she says that he then weaponized that same audience against me. No, you don't weaponize an audience. I mean, unless you're like doing something wrong, like people are free people. They can go and do and follow and listen to whatever content they want to. There's no weaponization here, at least not at this level. There's psychological stuff, like I was saying before, at like the nation state level and like the government level. But you're just a 25-year-old nobody. Like, we're all just nobodies. No one's weaponizing an audience against you. You're not that important. I hate to like say it that way, but like, you're not that important. Okay, so as a neurodivergent individual, here we go. Her qualifier. That's how she's categorizing herself. So the comments theorized that she was racial or being a racist since she's a white woman and he is Indian. And I think, yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair critique. Like, you have a decent looking Indian guy and you're calling him chopped and not put together. Like, what other reason would you say that? Like, maybe you're not attracted to him. That's totally fine. Like, it is absolutely fine to not be attracted to someone from a different race, different culture, whatever. Attraction is multidimensional. It's not just, physical appearance. But the fact that she called him that, I mean, I think that's a fair critique. Okay. So she says, it has been a few days and I'm still receiving texts from old friends concerned about my general safety because this has blown up out of proportion. Okay. This whole idea of safety also, and this is why language is important, and you can't just like make up words and you can't change the definition of words because then things mean different things than what they're actually supposed to mean. So safety is like your physical safety, right? Like when I read this, okay, asking about my general safety. So if I'm concerned about you because of something happening on the internet, I'm concerned maybe you're getting swatted. Maybe people are stalking you. Maybe someone has come to your house. And this has happened with all sorts of different, folks who are on the internet where people are, doing things in real life that are causing harm. And so when I see safety, that's how I interpret it. But as you keep going here, it's very clear it's about her emotional and mental state. I still have my TikTok comments locked down, and you cannot comment on my Instagram unless you follow me. I hate to break it to her, but once you post something on the internet, it's on the internet and anyone can find things. So yeah, they can't comment, but they can make videos like this talking about it. So just another friendly reminder, if you're Gen Z, like maybe have a filter and be mindful about what you're posting on the internet, because once it's there and you're not going to get it back. Okay, she started off each day with her panic attack prescription drug here, because waking up each day feels like a panic attack. That is what it feels like to be the target of a misogynistic smear that is defamatory in nature that you can do nothing about. If that sentence doesn't encapsulate her delusion, I don't know what does. It's clear she's having issues in her personal life. She's maybe trying to resolve them, but I don't think she is. And I think she's just taking out her frustration on the internet. So then she concludes it by saying, the manosphere as it exists online is defined as an entity with influence and power until companies that exist online work to protect women among countless other minority groups that are targeted. Posting online as a woman is a risk. So here she concludes by advocating for censorship. Wonderful. Okay, so that's all she has here. It's kind of a rant. So I wanted to dive a little bit into her and who she is. So I had a lot of trouble finding her LinkedIn. Like, it didn't come up on search readily. But I think part of this is she's not taking care of herself. Like, she's not owning up and taking responsibility for her physical appearance and her own well-being. So she's deflecting on others. But I also think she's probably struggling in her professional life and her identity life. So you'll notice on her TikTok, this is something I know. So she goes by Savannah, MS, and I was wondering what that was because no one does this, but it's Masters of Science. She has a master's degree, so it's very clear she prioritizes her credentials and her education. She even says here she's reintroducing herself the only biomedical engineer that worked at Sephora. Like, she didn't even work at corporate Sephora. She worked there part-time while she was in college. So the way that she like conflates her professional credentials kind of triggered something for me. So before we dive into that, her education, like, I don't think knows what she wants to do with herself. So she graduated high school in 2018, went to University of Miami, got, her 4-year degree, then immediately went to get her master's degree. And now I think she's been in the real world for a year, and like a lot of Gen Zers, the underemployment rate for Gen Z is 41%. So Gen Z is struggling to find work. And so now she's enrolled in a PhD program. And this is pretty common for people who don't, unless you know what you want to do with your life, education is always the fallback. People will default to that when they just don't know what to do. They're completely lost and they have no sense of, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan for what they want to do. And I get the sense watching her stuff that I don't think she really knows what she wants to do with her life. Again, I don't know that she's grown up yet, but so she has, all these jobs she's worked. So she's, done tutoring, retail, worked at Macy's and Nordstrom, tutoring again, worked at Sephora part-time, and now she's working part-time processing, fulfilling orders at her local Nordstrom rack. She was previously employed with Nordstrom in 2019. So the way she wrote that, like, she worked at Nordstrom, right? She was just like an average hourly person. And so, like I said, 41% of Gen Z is underemployed. She's clearly smart. Like, she has a master's degree in bioengineering, right? She should be able to get a good job, right? And even if she wanted to play the girl card for, being a female in STEM, like, she should be able to get a good job. And the fact that she's stuck tells me that there's just something going on in her internal world. And, she's trying to make it on here as a influencer, and she's just not. I mean, she has a few videos with, thousands of likes, but most of her videos aren't taking off. And I mean, look at it. It's just because she's missing the mark. She's got some stuff she needs to do internally to work on herself and improve herself first, because she's just not like she's just not taking care of herself, and she has unrealistic expectations for the world around her. So that is the chopped man epidemic. I would love to know what you think. And if you're Gen Zer, especially, but if you're a young woman watching this, I think there's lessons to be learned here. Like, the manosphere, the patriarchy, whatever you want to call it, it's not out to get you. Yeah, there are a lot of angry guys. And I understand why they're angry. They have every right to be angry. There's a lot that has happened over the last, decade and a half that has really hurt men significantly in ways that women don't understand, and women have really been ignorant to learn more about. Instead, women have been blaming men and absolving themselves of all responsibility for their lives. And they've just been, really, really cruel. But, the manosphere, the dudes, like, they're not the only ones to blame. If you want equality means equal responsibility. And so if you want men to be 6 foot and have 6-figure jobs and be, a 10 out of 10, you need to put in the same effort, So at the crazy extreme, you're going to end up looking like a plastic surgery Kardashian. But more realistically, like, if you want to attract a guy, you need to put in the work. You need to go to the gym. You need to eat healthy. Count your macros. It's painful, but, once you get it, it's not that, it's not that hard. Learn to cook, eat nutritious meals, do something, like do a career where you're able to give and, you know, take care of or support, like engage your nourishing side and your nurturing side. I think a lot of women are disengaged from that, but you know, you have to put in what you expect to receive. And if women aren't willing to do that, they're going to keep, getting, you know, stuff like this and outcomes like this where they're, you know, struggling in the trenches of Bumble. And they have all these delusional, unrealistic expectations. And so I think women need to start stepping up to the plate and doing more. And then have this conversation again. You know, if you're putting in the effort and then you're still struggling, you know, maybe there's some other stuff going on. Maybe it's more of a personality thing and you need to adjust your mindset. And again, like I've been there. I was just like her when I was 25. So I completely get it. But as you grow up, and that's why growing up is important, your mindset shifts, your goals shift. What becomes important to you changes. So right now, to this woman, her education and her TikTok following is what's important to her. And so if she wants to attract, you know, a future husband, she needs to realign her expectations and set new goals and find hobbies for heaven's sake. Just do something besides pandering to the internet, because it's not healthy. And a lot of it isn't real. A lot of it is completely made up, not real. And this girl is like, clearly she had to write this piece. So clearly this triggered her, this affected her. And it wasn't even originally directed at her, it had nothing to do with her. And so I think she's just inserting herself because she feels emotionally vulnerable right now. She just wants validation, like a lot of women do. So if you know a young woman who is obsessed with social media and maybe could use a little help taking care of herself, please send this to her. She probably isn't aware how delusional she is. And I don't know if hearing it from another female and someone who's older could help. Maybe. I don't know. But I think young women really do need to just buckle down and put in the equal amount of effort they expect from men. And until they do, they're going to continue struggling and not getting what they want. So yeah, if you found this helpful and enjoyed this commentary, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.